What's up guys, Vet Online. Recently we had an event made by Daria. It's a student of second grade in a cool university in Warsaw. She studied psychology, so she shared with us her knowledge, her experience in study psychology and some psychological tricks and maybe a little bit of exercises which could help you to develop yourself. So please enjoy our video report.
So I need your phones.
My
Yeah.
phone.
It will be interactive.
Take it. Take it.
You need to enter Mentimeter app. This one,
Oh.
Menti. You can find it on Google. And you need to add code. So what we have, like the most important here is therapy, stress, of course. Yeah, it's connected to psychology. It's more connected to psychotherapy, more like to this period of time when people are in complicated situation and they need help. Psychology itself is much more wide. It's better to say that it's even a science. It's like a math, to be honest, for me. I'm glad to see here answers like Daria. It's me, so nice to have this information here. Well, happiness, problems, quackery, that's interesting, to be honest, because that's controversial for me. I'm not sure that I do think that this answer is good for me. You okay? Yeah. Okay, soul, human, study, think. So we have cognitive psychology, science, thanks. Depression also, psychopathology. Happiness, messy mindsets, life. Okay, tomato. And next question for you guys is connected to this. It's much like, it's better and happier. So, yeah. You have ability right now to vote, yeah. So, like, summary we can have. It's exciting. I'm glad to see this actually, because it's also exciting for me. So I'm glad to hear that. Black magic. Oh, nice, 9%. Black magic, yeah. Actually, when I started my study psychology in my university, I had the same opinion that it's black magic for me. So I fully understand you. It's true. Okay, and it scares me. Actually, that was controversial one because I added because why not? It's interesting. So boring. I thought that much more people will vote for this boring because somehow it's very ununderstandable and it's questionable. So it's nice for me to experience this, that you find it exciting. Okay, so interaction part is over. And now we have to do some presentation. Yeah. We will talk today about communication, about main branches in psychology, about human nature and how to communicate better in environment in where you are living, with people you are living and working. Actually, at the beginning of this story, I want to introduce myself, who I am, especially for people who don't know me well and don't know who I am. So, I'm Daria, I'm 19 years old, I'm Ukrainian, and I'm studying here in Polish university, which is called SWPS, actually a very good university, highly recommended. Also, I have experience in design field, so I was working in IT projects, I was creating websites and apps, so I have good experience in communication with people from all around the world. I was working with Ukrainians, with Polish people, with Arabic people, so yeah, I know a little bit more about cultural differences. Also, I'm curious about evolution, neurobiology, cognitivism, IT itself, and knitting beers. Yeah, I'm knitting. It's my hobby, so I like this. Maybe one day I'll need something for NWET. Why not? Okay. So at the beginning, I want to tell you why psychology is needed, why these principles is important. Of course, it's understanding of human nature, how we are interacting with other people, how we feel ourselves. It's more about cognitivism, how we produce information, how we understand something, how we actually work with information. Of course, it's more about neurobiology, because human behavior, we cannot skip biology in this part, and neurobiology itself, how our brain works. Also, it's about mental health, of course. In case if you want to improve something, you need to discover more about this, how our psyche is working. Fostering personal growth itself is important. In case if you want to grow in relationships, in case if you want to grow in work and with people. Enhancing relationships, of course. And for me, actually, important point is advancing science and research. I'm studying psychology as science, and for me, it's important to understand that people are interested in this field as a science. It's not just something that is interesting, curious, and so on. It's more about science. It's more about something that can give you answers how this world is made itself. So yeah, you can find some insights inside your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, more about other people. Yeah. And of course, about branches in psychology. Psychology is not about therapy, because I wanted to check you guys how you think psychology works. It's not just about therapy, happiness, sadness, and depression. It's more about everything that is located right now here. Actually, psychotherapy is more about this therapy. It's more about working with people. It's more about how to help people and save their lives even sometimes, in case if we're talking about crises. Also, we have interesting fields that actually I've studied in my university for 2 years. We have developmental psychology, which is connected to how child was born and how it develops itself, like from the, let's say, death. All of these principles, all of these mechanisms. Biological psychology, of course, how our brain works, how our body works, and why we are why we are working like this. Psychopathology, actually very controversial, because it's connected to clinical psychology, how people with different understanding of these words and how people with diseases are living. We are talking here about schizophrenia, about people with ADHD, PTSD, with all of these disorders, and it's very complicated, to be honest, because I have these fields of psychology right now in my university, and sometimes it's just hard to experience some books with complicated topics, like why people have some intellectual disorders and how we can actually cure this topic. Cognitive psychology, my favorite one, connected to how our behavior goes, like memory, attention, how we are learning in different environments, how people with different temperament are growing into their fields. So it's more about our mechanisms, usual mechanisms that helps us to work on regular basis. Social psychology, it's very pretty and happy. It's not that complicated as psychopathology. It's more about how people interact with groups, how groups interact with each other, how we are growing in groups, yeah. And actually a lot of interesting topics like aggression, happiness, about sadness, about all of these emotions we have from this, like in this field. Personality psychology, it's more about our own things that differ from different people. Like for instance, I can be very neurotical person. I can be very nervous, and another person can be so calm. And from this perspective, from this difference, we understand personality of psychology. Educational psychology is needed for people who are working with children in kindergartens or schools, because we need to understand how to educate person, how learning mechanisms and cognitive mechanisms are going in these people. So yeah, it's important for different people. Business psychology, actually, I want to be a business psychologist. I guess it's very exciting field in psychology because it's connected to marketing, to HR, human resources field. how to interact with people, how to work with them in work environment. And it's actually very needed sometimes because some people used to live and work in very toxic places with toxic bosses and toxic team workers. And here we go. Business psychology is working with these problems. Forensic psychology, very exciting for most of people, but sometimes it's very also complicated because we used to work with people who have also mental diseases and they used to commit some crimes with these diseases. And forensic psychology learns how to interact with these people, how to work with them, and why they do murderers, for instance, or even suicides. It's going also. Psychology in sport, pretty, I guess, understandable, right? So I don't have to say more. Psychology as science, yeah. Actually, this field is very unknown for most of people. It's not just about help, it's more about understanding how people are living, how they are producing some information. A lot of scientific research is connected to every single field that you guys can see here. It's more about science. Science is like it complete all of these fields together, and it's very, very exciting. Psychotherapy is more about everything, these processes of therapy, of understanding how to help person, how to support. And actually, we will be concentrated today on psychotherapy, how to communicate with each other, how to deal with problems in groups. So yeah, that's all on this slide. Our main topic today, like secrets of communication. Of course, I want to talk with you about this field. It's not just verbal communication, because in case if we are talking with each other, we of course give some information, we share something. But of course, we have non-verbal communication. That's my appearance, that's how I'm talking to you, that's my timbre of voice, that's my gestures, and so on. It's much more important. And some scientific researchers state that non-verbal communication is 80% of communication itself. So, it's very important. Also, we have written communication, and it's also a little bit complicated topic because when you have communication in written form, most of the time you don't feel other person at all. Like you don't see this person, you can see just some emojis and that's it. But this person that is texting to you or messaging you something can have something completely different in his or her mind. And it's important to understand that written communication is very dangerous communication. It's not improved. Like we need to improve it, and it can be voice calls or just phone call. It's much better. A role of assertiveness is important. Assertiveness itself, it's understanding your own barriers. Like I don't want to be touched in this way, like on first meeting. That's my barrier, let's say. That's my, how to say, granice? Borders, thank you. That's my borders, and I need to appreciate this and to tell people that I have borders and I don't want you to penetrate this border even. So assertiveness, it's about respect and self-respect. And the same you need to understand about different people. Like in case if you will touch somebody and this person will not be accepting this, you can crush border of somebody. And of course it's not good for communication, and especially for building a relationship connected to trust, based on trust. Rule give and take also important. I guess guys, you know this because we all had experience of situations when we were talking with somebody and this person was talking way too much than we. And somehow you feel this kind of boredom, kind of sadness that you don't have opportunity to say somebody to this person because this person used to interrupt you all of the time. So you are a taker in the situation and the person who gives you this information is a giver. And it's like this asymmetrical way of communication. It's also not good. But from another perspective, in case if we used to be only givers or only takers, it's also not good for us and for understanding of communication because we need to interact most of the time. In case if I'm giving information to you guys right now, so I'm a giver, right? And it's like normal, it's obvious. But in case if it would be usual communication, I used to expect some information from you also. And that's why I created this interaction at the beginning, because I wanted to understand your ideas, your thoughts about psychology, how do you think about this topic, and so on. So these 3 rules actually very important for me, and I wanted to mention this. So at the beginning, I will say that there are 3 types of people that will be in this test and will figure out things better in the future. So we have people who are action-oriented, people who used to do everything very good. I would say like robots even sometimes. The people who used to think only about actions. Thought-oriented people, that's more about people who think about ideas, implement ideas, very good. These people like moralists of the group. They used to do everything very unexpectedly, and they are actually interesting type of people, because actually that's me. Like 2 of my preferred roles in this thought-oriented type. And people-oriented people, that's type of people that used to build relationship in group. Like they used to do everything possible, not exactly about action and not exactly about ideas, but about people, about relationship. As better relationships, as better these people interact in groups. So yes, and I wanted to tell you that you need to find in this test 3 most pointed roles in test. Like 3. Top 3 that you have. Okay? Like your top 3. And then
What to do if there is 4?
it's okay, it can be also 4. It's okay. But we will understand like which type of people, like who you are in this case. So of course these roles can be changed in time. It depends on your situation, as I told you before. It depends on your lifestyle, stress factors, and so on. Because when we are living active life, people used to be more people-oriented than in case if people are extroverted, they used to be people-oriented. In case if we're talking about introverted people, they used to be more action-oriented or thought-oriented. And it's completely normal. But I just wanted to say that it's changeable. It can be changed, okay? So about actually our main roles. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So we have action-oriented people, who's like implementer, shaper, and completer finisher. Implementer is the person who turns ideas to actions. It's a person who has a task, and this person will do everything possible to complete this task. And that's action-oriented person. This person used to be very not like connected to people, more introverted, and here we have some pluses and minuses of this type of people, like inflexible and slow to respond to new possibilities, but will do positive changes. Like this person will finish this task for 100%. You can be sure about this. Sharper, it's the next person, like the next type. Actually, it's about provides the necessary drive to ensure team keeps moving. It's like how to say locomotiva. Inga. How to you don't know?
Like you guys have train, and like the first head, like
yes,
that is.
Yes. Like he pushed everybody to do this task.
А це що, там це рослина?
Ні, зараз ти нам чекай. This person used to do everything possible to other people to work. Like it's like a manager. He used to do everything perfectly also. Challenging, dynamic, thrives on pressure, and may sometimes offend people's feeling. Yeah, these types of people, action-oriented people, sometimes can offend somebody because these people used to do everything like perfectly. The next is completely finisher. It's me. It's just my preferred role for most of the time, to be honest. It's hard to live like this, but it's okay. Yeah, very effective at the end of the task. I used to do everything very, very detailed and oriented on detail. Also, I hate when somebody don't pay attention to details. And this person's like, you know what, it's okay. Even this presentation, guys, I was doing like for 5 hours. Yes, because that's me. Like I'm completer finisher. It's just me. And what about constant plus? Like can be included to worry unduly and reluctant to delegate. Yeah, it's hard to delegate for me, very hard. Like in case if I'm doing task, I guess that I need to do everything on my own. In even groups, I can take somebody's responsibility on me, like, oh, I will do this better. I know how to do this better because like I have some experience, I know, and so on. It's hard because it's very complicated emotionally. Also, we have thought-oriented types of people. Monitor evaluator, it's also my preferred role. I'm talking about me right now. Actually, it's about judgments.
To judge somebody?
Yes. It's like a huge judge that is sitting and just, oh, it's okay, it's not, you need to redo this and you need to do this better. And in case if I have this combination of completer, finisher, and monitor evaluator, sometimes people used to be very offended when they are working with me because I'm so strict with people sometimes. Yeah, very strategic, sometimes without inspiration for others and overly critical. Actually, this person is good when we're talking about technical task and we need to do everything technically perfectly. But in case we're talking about more tasks connected to imagination, to creativity, it's hard to combine creativity and monitor evaluator because it's very subjective. Yeah, and actually planned. It's not Roslena. It's not about this. Planned is the person who used to create innovative and interesting ideas in very unexpected ways, solve problems in unconventional ways, yes. And it's also my preferred role. And it's interesting that I used to pay my attention to thoughts and actions most of the time, but I'm not people-oriented. Like, I know this because I passed this test like 1 year ago, and I guess not that much things changed. So yeah. Pluses about planned is just creativity, imagination, free thinking, sometimes forgetful and absent-minded. Actually, absent-minded, true, but forgetful is not about me because I have this combination of completer, finisher, and monitor evaluator. So let's say I can generate new interesting ideas to people and at the same time to control how they are doing this task, this work, and to, of course, monitor this task. And the last category is about people-oriented people. Okay, resource investigator. It's a person who finds ideas outside the group and bring this to the team back. If this person can find interesting other like people from community and add this to this community, it's very important in case we're talking about something also unusual, about some creativity and about some imagination, I guess, because in technical tasks it's not needed. I guess HR, people who are working in HR, human resources, they are pretty good in doing this type of job. Yes. Pluses and minuses. Explores opportunities and develops contracts, but lose interest once the initial enthusiasm has passed. Yeah, this person is highly motivated for a short distance. It's important to understand. In case we're talking about long distance, this person used to give up. So, about team worker, it's actually, I like to say that it's soul of a group, because most of the time these people are so comfy, so pleasant, so warm, and you just interact with these people and feel yourself like you're at home or you're in the family. Very also important, every single role is important, but this one is very important to build good relationships into a community, into a group. And yeah, cooperative, perceptive, and diplomatic sometimes tends to avoid confrontation. These people are they feel themselves very anxious in arguments and some unprepared situations that are connected to relationships. So these people need to be they are tender to relationships, yeah. And coordinator, it's like a big manager for me. It's a person who also concentrates his or her attention on people, and this person used to delegate work to others. And actually, sometimes people think that this coordinator may be manipulative because he give all his job to somebody else. But from different point of view, in case if we will not have this coordinator in group, we will be just as complete finisher, people who used to do everything by their own and just to burn out, I'd say. Burnout, yeah. Burnout. So coordinator is also important. And yeah, mature, identifies talent, sometimes can be manipulative. And that's all our roles.
Wow.
What do you think, guys?
So interesting.
Does something match you? Your roles, your feelings, your ideas?
Oh yeah, I like to offend people.
Okay.
Which one?
Offender. Here, Shaper.
But the biggest role I have on a coordinator.
Okay.
Oh, I also have coordinator.
People oriented.
These are the results. Like they're just.
Yeah, you just.
Second shaper and
Do you
then
see well?
Yeah, I see
And
it.
then
So is
forward.
it? How is it in order? Like how? Like how
It's just your preferred role. It's
Huh?
you don't have order. It's just what you most of the time used to like.
Oh,
which
does
role you used to
SH
use.
stand for shaper?
how does
Yeah.
it,
Oh, that's how it works.
Shaper.
Okay.
Yeah. SH shaper. CO it's complete finisher. Yeah. Like this.
All.
And you can just check what you had the most.
My
So-
most.
Nice I like this combination.
Which one?
Tend to you create as a plant you create a new idea, then you coordinate people to do it, and then offend them during shaping from this one.
Nah. That's rude.
But
Yeah.
work is done. What's wrong?
Yeah, but what about relationships with other people?
So I know that's in track.
It's ruined. Okay, so yeah. It works
So like
this.
your feelings don't get in the way of your objective.
My top 3 is completer, finisher, and then plant,
Mhm.
and then implementer.
Action oriented, SWOT oriented. Okay. Pretty similar to mine.
Yeah.
But I like monitor evaluator, but you are an implementer. Okay, so I have also this complete finisher and plant. Yeah. Maybe somebody wants to share results.
My first is shaper.
Okay.
Everyone else work really good. Second is complete finisher.
Okay.
And third I have like 2. It's from plant and resource investigate.
My top 2 are coordinator and then team worker and then completer finisher.
So you are more people oriented person. Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay.
Does the amount at which, like, how high it is also play a factor? Like, how high the score is in comparison?
It's okay. You just can feel these differences, but it does not.
I have complete CF. Complete finisher is first, monitor evaluator is second, and I'm tied for third with plant and teamwork.
Okay. That was pretty similar to mine. Okay. Igor, what do you have?
I'm coordinating shape of plants during their growth.
Coordinator, shape, okay, of plant, okay.
So
It was not a joke, right?
no.
Oh! Okay, you just created a story.
One for each.
Yeah, so when you planting the seeds and then you shape the growth, coordinate the shape. But yeah, it wasn't a joke. But yeah.
So you have like every single role in every single type. Like action, thought-oriented and people-oriented. That's interesting.
No, the most like coordinator is like 16, shaper 13 and plant 10. So the most it was coordinator and second is shape.
Okay. People-oriented. People-oriented. Yeah?
To offend them. To offend somebody, you need to have somebody to offend. So, so you need to orient on the people.
Okay.
That's offending.
And you need some creative idea to make people up.
Oh my god. So brutal. Okay, so maybe someone else want to share? How it goes?
Shape
Mm-hmm.
plants,
Mm-hmm.
and then you team worker. I have monitor evaluator, then team worker.
Okay.
Yes.
More thought-oriented person. Okay. Mm-hmm.
My points are like really spread out, but I got 12 for team worker, and then the rest I got for 11 points. Plans, monitor, evaluator, and implementer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Who's your first?
My first is team worker.
It's again monitor.
Okay, you can take a picture if you want, if you need.
Team worker, plans, monitor, evaluator, and implementer.
So thought oriented more. So more like thought oriented.
Salted.
Thought.
Thought, yeah.
So we done, right? Everybody know everything? So thank you for attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, gather.